Hello friends, let's camp. I have just gotten out here to the woods. It is early afternoon. I'm at my favorite spot. I'm just outside of Flagstaff, Arizona, and we will have beautiful dark skies tonight for some astrophotography during the day. It's beautiful out, so we will see what I can do with my camera in the next, I don't know, day and a half or so that I am out here. I will show you all of the cameras and lenses, tripods, and all of the other camera gear that I brought with me, including my new solar generator from Jackery. In fact, this adventure today is sponsored by Jackery, so let's talk about them just for a minute.
Jackery was founded in 2012 and has been making solar generators ever since. They have a range of solar generators from quite large with a ton of capacity to smaller units like I have. This is the Explorer 300 Plus, which I have in a kit with a 40-watt solar panel. You can also charge it with AC, and it comes with a cable for that. And incidentally, you can also purchase this with a 100-watt solar panel if you want faster solar charging. I have added a link in the description of this video that takes you to Jackery's site so that you can check out all of their solar generators, including my 300 Plus, but you can also Google Jackery 300 Plus to find out more. Let's quickly take a look at the unit itself and how you charge and power things with it. We have an AC output, two USB-C, and a USB-A output. There's a light here, which I can definitely see making use of. You can never have enough lighting options at camp. And this is the display that tells you how much power you're taking in as well as outputting. Now, you've seen me using solar generators before when Raymond and I go off-grid for camping adventures, but those units were always much larger and heavier. Because of my back issues in the past year, I needed something smaller for my solo trips. The 300 Plus is perfect for that.
Throughout the video, I will check in with you on how my cameras, my computer, because I have some computer work to do, and my phone. I'll check in with you on how everything is doing, how much I'm charging everything, and what the power on the Jackery is, including if I need to do any solar charging. It's a perfect day for it. There is not a cloud in the sky.
But first, a walk. I saw these grasshoppers leaping out of the way during my drive in, so I headed out with my telephoto lens to see if I could capture them in photos and videos. I've seen brown grasshoppers in Flagstaff forever, but these black ones with orangey red on the back of their rear legs are new to me. In fact, I tried to look up what they are and couldn't really figure it out. I did, however, find out that there are many, many different types of grasshoppers in the world. I also came across another insect, this butterfly. You can see my method of get a photo, get closer, get a photo, get closer, get a photo, until either the bug takes off or I'm satisfied with my photos, whichever comes first. These photos are cropped, but this guy actually let me get pretty close and hung around, allowing me to photograph him for quite some time. I walked around for quite a while and I had more good luck. This cute little squirrel let me capture his photo before he ducked back into his log. When I am photographing wildlife, I typically try to capture a few stills and then capture video if the animal hangs around. And back to camp to get my gear charging. You can see that I used a USB-C cable in the USB-C charging port to charge my Insta360 camera and the AC plug to charge up my Z9. I decided to go ahead and plug the solar panel in to top off the Jackery. May as well use the sunlight since I have it, right? And after charging for a while and also charging another camera, my Z30, the Jackery's power was at 95%. And you can see that the solar panel was bringing in 16 watts. So now I get to relax for a bit, enjoy the day before I start getting set up for astrophotography tonight. When I'm relaxing at camp, I always keep my telephoto set up handy just in case any wildlife shows up. In this case, this little bird came and hung out for a while. Again, I captured some still photos and then switched over to video to watch him hanging on to that branch blowing in the breeze.
All right, friends, let's take a look at all of the camera gear that I brought. I've got it all laid out on the table here. First, I have the Mavic 3 Cine DJI drone, which I think I'll fly here in just a minute. I have the Nikon Z9, and on it right now I have the 70 to 200 millimeter f2.8 lens, but also the 2x teleconverter. I was walking around with this earlier because I saw a whole bunch of cool bugs and I wanted to take some photos of them. I also have the Nikon Z7, and I brought the ultra wide 14 to 30 millimeter f4 lens, and I brought, just for fun, I have this new lens. It is the Laowa 35 millimeter f.95. I haven't used this a whole lot, but so far we really like it. So I just wanted to bring it just maybe for morning time to, yeah, just to play around with it. But then for some astro, I actually might use that 35 millimeter, but also I brought the Sigma 20 millimeter f 1.4 art lens. This is an f mount lens though. So I also have the FTZ2 adapter so that I can use that 20 millimeter lens on either the Z7 or the Z9. I mean, I could use it also on the camera that I'm using right now, which is the Z30. I have its kit lens on it right now. So those are the cameras that I have. Everything is fully charged, including the Z30 that I'm using right now, even though I've used everything quite a bit already. But it's all fully charged because of the Jackery, of course. Before we move on to the tripods and such, let's see what the charge is. It is still plugged into the solar panel, but of course right now the sun is changing and going behind all the trees and stuff, so we aren't actually getting anything into the, no power is going in right now, but we are at 92%, which is pretty incredible, considering that it's just this one solar panel. But yeah, doing great so far. Okay, let's take a look at the extra little things that I have. I have two big tripods. I have the Peak Design carbon fiber tripod and a Manfrotto Be Free carbon fiber tripod. I also have, oh, I didn't mention this before, the Insta360 ONE RS 1-inch edition. I have a Insta360 little tripod. It's on that right now. I also have a giant selfie stick that you would have seen footage using that earlier because it's super tall and it can kind of mimic drone footage, which is really cool. On the Z30, I'm also using a Joby tripod right now. And what else do I have? I have a blower, just in case any, any dust gets maybe into my camera while I'm changing lenses. And then I also have a bunch of stuff. I have a lot of cables. I have, things to charge with, like I brought this just in case I needed to charge more things. I can plug this into the Jackery and then plug 4 USB cables into it. I also brought an extra battery for the Z7. This is one of the older EN-EL 15 batteries from before. That battery will not charge in the camera. And speaking of the Z7, I brought this AC adapter so that I can plug in the camera and it can be powered all night for a time lapse. The Z9 should be okay to just use its big battery, but I plan to plug the Z7 into the Jackery with that AC adapter overnight for a time lapse. I also brought a couple of filters. This is a circular polarizer. I have a variable neutral density filter. Those are primarily, actually the circular polarizer I didn't really bring for this camping trip. I brought it for when I was on the gondola yesterday. You'll have already seen that video. I didn't end up using it, so I didn't talk about it in that video. But yeah, I do have a variable neutral density filter for me to use to help me shoot video if I need to. I also have a lot of extra memory cards, lens wipes, and I think that's all that I have, which sounds like a lot of stuff, but for me it's not that much stuff. I feel like I did a pretty good job keeping things pared down. All right, I need to maybe fly the drone a little bit, and it's getting close to dinner time. It's also getting chilly outside, so I'm probably gonna have to start putting on some more layers.
It's time to figure out where I will be setting up the cameras for night sky photography tonight. I use the PhotoPills app. There is an AR option to visualize my shots. I get to set up early, and I like to do that so that I'm not rushing in the evening. I even typically get my camera settings dialed in as best I can so that I only have to fine tune when I'm standing there in the dark. And then I wandered around a bit more. I love seeing the sunlight filtering through the grasses. I ended up with a cactus in my shoe because it's Arizona, so you end up seeing little cactuses even in the woods. And after charging several cameras and my phone, the Jackery was at 41% at sunset when I set it up with the Z7 plugged into it. This would be powering the camera for an all-night time lapse. With my extra time before dark, I decided to fly the drone a bit. I love taking the drone up when I'm in the middle of nowhere to see just how isolated I am and just how vast the open space is. It's funny how all the pine trees look so small, but standing next to them provides a completely different perspective. These trees are huge. You can even see a little bit of fire damage on some of the trees. There have been multiple fires in the last 10 years in the area. The Forest Service does its best to keep the national forests thinned out, but wildfires still happen. And even though I know it's a natural process, it still makes me sad to see the damaged areas. And guess what? It is nighttime, and it was a new moon, so I had from sunset to sunrise to capture the sky. I lined up a 20 millimeter lens so that the Milky Way would come between these trees, and I love seeing the stars glittering amongst the branches. Cutting to the 35 millimeter lens, we can see closer detail. I know a lot of people like to use the widest angle lens possible for astrophotography, but sometimes I like to mix it up. And back to the 20 millimeter, I even created some star trails once the Milky Way was out of the frame. So beautiful. In the morning, after running the Z7 literally all night for around 3,000 images, the Jackery was down to 16%, so I put it and the solar panel in the full sun. I did plug in the Z9, whose battery was depleted after its all-night time lapse, and also the Insta360. And I just let it sit there while I had some coffee and flew my drone. One of the most important things to me about this Jackery 300 Plus and why I absolutely adore solar generators is that they are all but silent. It would be an understatement to say that I despise gas generators that interrupt the peaceful ambiance of the campsite. Plus, gas is really expensive and solar energy is free. Plus, it's better for the environment. I like being able to use the sun to power up my electronics. It's a win-win.
I have spent a lovely morning so far hanging out at my little campsite. I, of course, have the Jackery still getting all charged up with its solar panel out there in the full sun. And I'm about to go for a walk. I'm bringing the Z7 and the 35 millimeter f.95 Laowa lens. I just realized the lens cap is on there. I suppose I can take that off. And I'm going to take a cup of coffee with me and just walk down the road.
The 35 millimeter lens is a manual focus lens, so it was perfect for taking my time this morning. You can see the aspens changing colors on the mountains in the distance. The weather was gorgeous. While on yesterday's walk with the telephoto lens, I was focused on capturing bugs in my photos. Today, I was simply enjoying the experience of walking, drinking coffee, and doing a little manual focusing. It was quite a Zen-like experience.
All right, friends, I am on one last little stroll around in the woods. I found a nice shady spot to chat with you all and to sign off. I do want to tell you one story first before I go. Last night, I woke up somewhere between like 1 and 2, and I wanted to check on the cameras, just make sure everything was working as it should be. And I was sleeping in the car, as I think I already said. And so I got out, I checked the cameras, and it was really cold out, but I was all bundled up and it was just really nice. Everything was so quiet, and I just stood there for a little while. And pretty soon, maybe, a couple minutes after I'd been out, a bird started making some noise. It was a an owl or some other night bird. And all of a sudden, those noises became a little more insistent. And then all of a sudden, there were some more birds in the trees around me. And then all of a sudden, there were some more birds shouting at me from across the way. And it was just a good reminder that, you know, I can bring all of my electronics out into the woods and enjoy myself, but these woods are not my domain. They are for the animals, and these birds were telling me to get out of their hunting territory. So anyway, it was just it was a nice moment. I got back in the car and snuggled into my sleeping bag, and sure enough, within a couple of minutes, everything was silent again. it was it was a lot of fun. Oh, I just realized I still had my headphones in. I don't know if I was just shouting at you or not. Anyway, I'm listening to a book about ravens. So I just mentioned my electronics. I want to thank Jackery again for sponsoring this outing, and let you all know again that there are links in the description of the video for you to find out about the unit that I have, but also all of the other units that they have, from small like mine to big that could you know, take you days and days off grid. Just to give you an update, when I last checked, which was a couple of hours ago, the unit was at 14%. So that means that I got everything I needed to out of it. All of my electronics are pretty much charged up to 100%. Nearly everything is. And I have the unit set out with its solar panel to continue charging during the day. Considering how long it takes to get from 0 to 100 on just using the solar panel, which the number of hours is escaping me. I will put it up on the screen right now. But considering that number, I would definitely be able to get back to 100% certainly on a sunny day like today. And even if it was cloudy, I would still be able to get back up to a point where I would be able to, again, charge my cameras overnight while they're doing time lapses, charge my phone, all of that stuff. So it definitely meets my needs for a camping trip like this, where I am charging a lot of stuff, but I want something, you know, a little bit smaller. It's great. I love it. I'm definitely going to continue using it for camping like this, but also just when I'm out in the field, if I want to do any long time lapses during the day or not, if I'm doing photo shoots or video shoots out in the field and I want to charge either my cameras or my lighting. So it'll definitely be getting a lot of use. So again, thank you to Jackery for sponsoring this video, and thank you all for watching.